Hello and welcome space fans, I'm Steve and this is a preview of the 2019 launch agenda. It's a new year now and we've got quite a lot going on this year. It's set to be the busiest year ever, and I don't mean it's the busiest year ever like clickbait busiest year ever. This genuinely is. The previous record was set back in 1967 and they managed 139 launches in 1967. As of 1990 that dropped way off. They got way down to about 50 launches a year at one point, which is pretty poor. It's almost like something terrible happened to the spacefaring nations in the early 90s. Who knows? Anyway, it's starting to pick up again now, and thanks to the internet, YouTube, Twitter, all those other wonderful things that we use to keep up to date, it's much easier for space fans today to keep up with what's going on. So, let's dive right in, see what we've got. Okay, 2019 is looking to be a really good year for Rocket First. We have 9 rockets going up on their maiden flight this year, plus SpaceX's Crew Dragon going up, plus Boeing's Starliner capsule going up. Also got a few other important firsts going on, but starting from the start, and please any dates they look at during this video. There's a lot of reasons why rocket launches can be cancelled or postponed. We're not going to go into all that now. It's a lot of technical stuff, and we're just looking at the overview here. But January 18th, SpaceX launching their Crew Dragon. That'll be the first time that one has flown in that configuration. That's obviously the Falcon 9 with the Crew Dragon on top. There'll be nobody in it. It's just going up to the space station to prove that it can do it without doing any harm. Also in January, for the moment, it could be moved because I've not heard anything about a fixed date from this one. That is the Vector R, its first launch. That's an American smallsat launcher. That's carrying a few payloads up, and that will be its maiden orbital flight. So that one should be good to have a look at. In March, we have got an Atlas V going up. That's not a new rocket, but it's carrying Boeing's Starliner crew capsule up to the space station to get its own certification sorted out. That one is also doing a 30-day robotic mission while it's up there, so that should be quite interesting as well. We've got Cosmic Girl from Virgin, I think that one is. Yep, Virgin Orbital. Launcher 1's going up in springtime. India is going their SSLV is doing a test flight in May. That's their small satellite launch vehicle, sticking with their fantastically simple naming convention. I like it. I like the Indian Space Agency. They're no nonsense, straight to the point. They're working with a shoestring and they're doing fantastic things. I've got a lot of time for that. In June, we have a Chinese private rocket going up, the Hyperbola 1. It's doing its test flight. We don't have much information about that. We don't tend to get much information about what the Chinese are up to until after they've done it. China's doing another one, and I'm going to have to try and pronounce it. I'm going to Kuazahu, Kayazahua, Kayazahu. Right. Anyway, China's launching a new rocket. That one's supposed to go up before June. It's carrying some interesting payloads as well, but we'll get to them later. Okay, first crewed flight from Blue Origin. They've got their New Shepard rockets doing the short suborbital hops. The first crewed flight of that is set to be in the first half of this year as well. That doesn't have a fixed date yet. And to August, Boeing are sending their Starliner up to the space station with the astronauts on board. It's been the first time the Americans have sent up Americans in an American rocket since they got rid of the space shuttle way back in 2011. Since then, they've been dependent on the Russians to get up there, which I'm sure it'll make the Americans very happy that they can do it by themselves again. Following in August, SpaceX will be doing the same with their Crew Dragon. That'll be carrying astronauts up there again. Into October, we have another test flight of the SSLV. So it's not its first flight, but it's getting it closer to being fully operational. That may or may not have a payload in it. Getting towards the end of the year in December, Russia will be doing a flight test of a modified Angara A5. Also in December, we have Firefly Alpha, another small sat launcher that'll be getting launched out the USA. Vandenberg, that one's going out of actually. That's sticking towards the end of 2019 in Q4. The European Space Agency, hey, they're going to be launching the Vega C, which hasn't flown before yet. I've seen the Vega fly before, but not the Vega C. It's a new version of that rocket. And that'll be taking a payload up to low Earth orbits. Now, some here that are scheduled for 2019 that have an unspecified date, so these ones may slip into 2020. and the penciled in for 2019 for now, so we'll give them a wee talk about. India is going to be testing their own crew capsule. So it'll be doing a flight test on a GSLV Mark III. It's their biggest rocket. It's a geostationary satellite launch vehicle. Nice and simple, I like that. So that's their big rocket, and they'll have the crew capsule on top of it, which I'm not going to try and say until I've had a bit more practice. It's an uncrewed flight test for that. China, also at an unspecified date in 2019, are looking to test their grid fins for their Long March 8, which will be a reusable rocket they're building. So that's probably not going to be an orbital flight, that's probably just going to be an up and can fly itself back down. So that'll be something similar to what we're seeing from either SpaceX or Blue Origin. I'm going to reusable rocket. That's a Long March 8. We'll keep an eye out for that one. Also in China, the Long March 5B is going up to do a test flight, and the Long March 5 is their heavy lift vehicle at the moment. They're putting up their new generation of their manned spacecraft, so what they're replacing their Chinese Soyuz capsule with. That'll be going up. That should be quite interesting as well if we get to see that, because China doesn't always tell us what they're up to. A bit closer to home, in Spain, they're doing a rocket. It's a nice lightweight rocket, the Arion 1, that's launching out of El Ardosillo. I've probably butchered that, in fact I know I have. It's good to see Spain getting up there, getting part of the space race. Well done, Spain. Flight 2019, we have 7 crewed missions going up. 6 of them are going to the International Space Station, and the 7th is the Blue Origin New Shepard Space Tourism. So starting in February, we've got the Russians going up with some cosmonauts. That's straight through to July, and the Russians do another mission up there. And that one in July, scheduled for July 24th. That's the last contracted one by NASA. So after that, the Americans are going to be putting their own astronauts up and down, and so the Russians will be doing their own as well. I'm not sure who the ESA and JAXA will be using to get their astronauts up and down. So August will be the first American crew going up there on the American rocket. That's Boeing Starliner is going up there in August with crew. That's set to be for a 14-day stay with a view to stay longer if everything's looking fine. In October, SpaceX is sending their Falcon 9 and the Crew Dragon up with the first crew. And in October again, so it's SpaceX on the 2nd of October, and Roscosmos, so that's the Russian space agency, that's like Russian NASA, Roscosmos, on the 8th of October are sending up the Soyuz for the Soyuz FG's last mission. I'm not sure if it's been completely retired, but they're not going to use it for crew anymore. They're going to be replacing that with the Soyuz 2, which is very similar to the Soyuz. It's just had massive upgrades throughout, which it's an older rocket, I'm sure it could do with it. But that will be the last flight of the Soyuz FG. After that will be Soyuz 2. They will be doing a certification flight through the year, which we'll come on to in a wee bit. Also, towards the end of the year, Boeing Starliner is also penciled in for another crew transport up to the space station, but it's an unspecified date yet. I think that's probably depending on how that first mission goes in August. Right, so the final crewed flight of the year will be Blue Origin on their suborbital hop with the New Shepard rocket. That'll be the first space tourism one they are doing. As an unspecified date, so I'm not even sure it'll be the last one, and it's Blue Origin, man. They might tell us, they might not. They're not good at publicising what to do, and I think that's their thing though. I don't think they're just bad at it. I think that's deliberate. They see advantage in it. But for us face fans, it's a bit frustrating. So this year brings 8 missions to the moon, which is great. But as of filming this on the 5th of January, China has already landed their Chang'e 4 rover on the far side of the moon, which is a first for all humanity. Nobody has ever landed anything on the far side of the moon before, because you're out communications range. You're not out of range, you just don't have that direct line of sight. Comms is very difficult. So everything we've landed on the moon until then had been on the side we could see. Because of course the moon's tidally locked, we will never see one side of the moon. The Chinese managed to land a rover on the far side of the moon, so well done China. Towards the end of the month, India is sending up their moon mission. That'll include an orbiter, a lander and a rover. That's going up on the GSLV Mark III. In February, SpaceX is sending up payloads, an Indonesian communication satellite, I believe it is. That's going up to geosynchronous orbit. A geosynchronous orbit is a very high orbit. That's when you're orbiting the Earth at the same speed as the Earth's turning. So from our perspective down here on Earth, it looks like you're perfectly still, but you're not. You're just moving at the same speed as the Earth orbits. But to get there, it's a very high orbit. So we've got a couple of other payloads piggybacking on that, and one of them is the Israeli moon lander. It's a private Israeli company setting off from a super synchronous transfer orbit with a 60,000 kilometre apogee. They'll be piggybacking up there on the Indonesian satellite. Towards the end of the summer into autumn, we have the Germans are going up there on a mission. They are sending 2 rovers up there to have a roam around. Now, this was for the Google X Prize. So was the Israeli mission that I just talked about, and the next one I'll be talking about as well, the Moon Express. They were all supposed to be competitors for Google's Lunar X Prize. Now that was a competition launched by Google to send a rover up to the moon and stream back, I think it was a 4K or HD footage, but I had to stream back footage of everything that saw up there. And Google basically said, right, nobody's capable of winning this. I think the deadline expired or something, so this year we've now got 3 of them that were far enough along that it might as well finish what we started. So yeah, well done guys, and no comment on Google dropping out on the prize there. So the Germans are sending up 2 rovers. Actually, I'll link a video about these rovers. It's from Fully Charged with Robert Llewellyn. They got a nice look around these rovers. They're actually built by Audi. You see those ones, I think it was Alien, the latest Alien movie. Yeah, rovers are driving down the ramp as they're walking off the spaceship to get eaten by aliens. Spoilers. I know what they're expecting in an Alien movie, to be honest. But anyway, from New Zealand, we've got Rocket Lab's Electron rocket. That's taking Moon Express up there. They're sending up a lunar lander towards the end of 2019. They're also penciled in for another one in 2019. So they're down for 2 in 2019, but I don't think we're going to see that second Moon Express mission in 2019. I think that'll probably slip. But that's quite a small lander, that one. It's 250 kilos all in. Yeah, it's two modules, much the same. One of them's an engine, one of them's a lander. That's taking itself up there. That's quite an interesting mission. I'll cover more on that later on. Japan sending up a mission up there as well. It's sending up a lander, an orbiter, and a rover. So it'll be doing the whole thing. So it should be able to get a good look around the moon up there. That'll be quite interesting. And China is doing a sample return mission for the moon. So they're using their Long March 5 rocket, which is their big rocket. A sample return mission, that's quite a technical challenge. It's getting somewhere is nice and easy. It's like landing on Earth, no problem at all. All you got to do is deorbit and you're down. Now, how do you get back up there? Now, you see, you know the range of rockets we have to do that. Now, the moon's obviously a lot smaller, but you have to carry the rocket you need to get back up there in the first place. Good luck, China, and that sample return mission. Hope it all goes well. Space Station. So we've already talked about a lot of what's going on at the space station. It seems to be particularly busy in March and then again at kind of October time. It's when most of the crew handovers and exchanges are happening. So we've already talked about some of these missions and first missions with the Americans getting their capsules up there, and in the crew missions. I'm not going to spend too long talking about things we've already talked about. So I'll just to keep all the space station stuff together, I'll just run through them all for you. Right, 18th of January, Crew Dragon demo's going up there. 28th of February, the Russians are sending cosmonauts up there. 28th of March, the Russians are doing a resupply mission, the Soyuz rocket and the Progress module. Also in March, Boeing are going up there for their first crew capsule mission up there. I thought it's an uncrewed mission, that one. It's just robotics, just going up there. Right, also in March, SpaceX are doing a resupply mission. 17th of April, Americans doing another resupply mission. That's to be the Antares, sending up the Cygnus resupply module. 7th of May, SpaceX are doing another resupply, CRS-18. June, the Russians are doing a resupply mission. Again in June, SpaceX will be going up there, and this will be their first crewed flight up to space station. July 24th, Roscosmos will be going up there for a crewed flight. And this one will be the last contracted mission with NASA. After that, the Americans will be sending up their own American rockets. July, Japan is doing a resupply mission. The H-11B rocket's going up with the HTV-8 module, a resupply module. August, that'll be Boeing going up there. with a Starliner. Into October, we've got another Cygnus resupply. That's October 1st, Cygnus resupply. October 2nd, Crew Dragon is going up there with crew on board. October 8th will be the last flight of a Soyuz FG. After that, all Russian crewed missions will be going up on a Soyuz 2 rocket. October 15th, SpaceX are going up there with a ISS resupply mission. They're also taking up a new part for the space station, taking up a NanoRacks airlock. So it'll be a new module, that's it qualifies a module, a new part to go onto the space station, make it a bit bigger and a bit better. Good stuff. So into November, Russia is using their Proton rocket. Now, that's their big rocket that they've got at the moment. It lifts about 20 tons to the Soyuz is about 6.5, 7 tons, depending on exactly which configuration it's in. The Proton will lift 20 tons, no problem. Standing there, going to hold up my vodka. I'm going to put that up there, and it does so. That's taken up the Nauka science module. That'll be going on the Russian end of the space station. It's some extra living quarters, some extra space, and lets them do some more experiments, which is good stuff. And then going into December, we have another Russian mission. Now this one depends on how they got on with the Nauka module. So if it got delayed, this one will be delayed, because this one is carrying parts and components for that module. So there's no point in it going up if there's nothing for them to be doing up there. The final scheduled mission for the space station, mission to the space station of 2019 is a Boeing mission for the Starliner going up on the Atlas V. It's a crew transport mission. Because I don't have any specific date yet, I'm not sure if they're going to use that one or if it's just there to be used. That one could quite possibly roll into 2020 before that one actually goes up. So Deep Space Rendezvous for 2019. We've already, as of filming this on the 5th of January, the New Horizons probes already flew past Ultima Thule and gave us some lovely pictures of a space snowman. We've already seen Chang'e 4 from China landing on that side of the moon. All we've really got for the rest of the year is Juno completing more orbits of Jupiter, the Parker Solar Probe edging its way closer to the Sun, with a nice gravity assist around Venus on the 26th of December, and that is a date that will definitely happen because gravity is extremely predictable. So there you go, it'll fly past Venus on the 26th of December. Also on that day, Juno completes 24th orbit of Jupiter. Juno went up in August 2011, I think, and that was on a Atlas V rocket. And in December, generally in December, as I've not decided yet, Japan's Hayabusa 2 probe will depart from the asteroid Ryugu, which it's currently in orbit of. And we just missed it this year, but OSIRIS-REx, that was on the 31st of December. Yeah, OSIRIS-REx managed to get in orbit of the asteroid it's around. But that was technically last year, even though it was last week. Okay, so if you're still here at this point in my first video, thank you. And now here's all the other missions that weren't as special in any other category that I found were still quite interesting. The first one of these, I'm just going to do these in order as they come through the calendar. 17th of January, going up in a Japanese Epsilon rocket. We have Astro Live Experiences, and it's a Japanese company that's making an artificial meteor shower. And the rumour is they're going to be doing this for the Olympics in Japan. But that is just a rumour. But I think they're feeding it, I don't know. But that's what they're going to be doing. What they've done is they've constructed their own meteors. Of course, different things burn at different colours, as we'll remember from science. They have constructed their own meteors, so they can control the brightness, the burn speed, and the colour. They can set it to re-enter the atmosphere any place and time they want to. So you can just book an asteroid, not an asteroid. You can book a meteor shower. This is pretty cool. So they're going to be doing this. They're going to be launching that mission on the 17th of January aboard that Epsilon rocket. It's pretty cool. Right, also in January, the Vector R launch. That's one I like, because it's got a Scottish satellite on it. It's made by Alba Orbital through in Glasgow. Now, I read a little factoid on the BBC website the other day It said that Glasgow was the second most prolific satellite builder outside of California. That seems like a bit of a skewed metric. I don't know how you compare one city to an entire state. I think what it was meaning is that the places that are built more are all in California. And of course, it would not be a spaceflight preview if we didn't talk about the Falcon Heavy. Now, this is set to go up in March. It's taking a US Air Force payload up to medium Earth orbit, which is quite a high orbit. That's a technology demonstrator mission, but I don't think people really care about the payload in that one, to be honest. I think we all just want to see the Falcon Heavy, see if it can land all 3 cores this time, which I think it probably will, because they want to see it, we want to see it, we all want to see it. So it's cool. Right. First quarter, we have got the Pegasus XL rocket going up. Now, that one is one that's launched from an airplane. That was supposed to have gone up already. It's already been delayed a few times now, actually. I'm not sure if it's problems with the rocket or with the payload, but it's just a huge missile, that thing. It's got wings on it and everything. Aircraft carries up to decent altitudes, releases the rocket, and off it goes, way up to space. Cool stuff. We don't see many of those launches. Right, a new player in the space game here. First quarter, Iran is sending up their first domestically built satellites on their first domestically built rocket, the what's this called? Let me try and get this right. The Simorgh. Yeah. So that's doing comms and Earth observation, doing their own photos and observations of the Earth. So that's their first one. Well done them. April. The Germans are sending up an X-ray astronomy satellite from the Max Planck Institute up on a Proton rocket. That's pretty good. Do some science up there. In May, we've seen a satellite service mission, and that's going up on a Proton again. It's taking up a French satellite on Proton rocket. It's going up to geosynchronous orbit. We're also going to have a Northrop Grumman built satellite up there, and that's going to be doing satellite servicing. Now, if you're not sure what satellite servicing is, that's when they fix it up in orbit. Remember what they did with Hubble? And it put it up there and it had a squint, and they had to go back up there with the space shuttle and put a pair of glasses on it to fix it. Now, it's a long story. Basically, somebody messed up and built the mirror slightly the wrong shape, and the glasses were able to fix it. And that was the space shuttle's party trick, really. That was the thing it could do that nothing else could do. There was lots of things that crew capsules can put astronauts up there and down there, no problem. Space shuttle can do that. So could the crew capsules. The space shuttle's the only thing that could do orbital servicing, so we're getting back to where we were when we had that capability. So we're going to see that one in May. I'll be keeping an eye on that one. It's maybe not the most glamorous thing to do, but it's an important leap forward. Not a leap forward, it's an important skill to have that we gave up and we stopped using. And we're getting it back now, which is good. Now, in June, we have a Chinese sea launch. It's not the first sea launch, but we don't see very many sea launches at all. But we've got 2 this year. So they're sending up a Long March 11 rocket. Right. So China on its... Oh my goodness, I've got to try and say this name again. The Kuaizhou 11. That'll do it. And that's that rocket's first flight as well. Well, one of the payloads on there is a gamma ray burst detecting CubeSat, which is pretty cool. Figure out a bit more about these gamma ray things that are so dangerous. Right, in the summer, we have the last flight of the Delta IV. Now, you maybe know what the Delta IV looks like. It's the 3 rockets, and they've got the kind of big orange body on it, and they've got the one big hydrogen nozzle at the bottom. Sorry, the one big engine at the bottom is hydrogen fueled. Now, we're used to seeing that in that 3 rocket configuration. That's the Delta IV Heavy. Now, this is the last flight of just the single Delta Heavy. It's never going to fly again after this. It's been retired. So, summertime, taking up a GPS satellite, that'll be the last time we see that Delta IV. It's only going to be Delta IV Heavy after that. And let's be honest, Delta IV Heavy is a much cooler rocket. Right, so into September, the Russians are doing an uncrewed flight on the Soyuz 2. Now, I did mention that the Soyuz 2 was taken over from the Soyuz FG for crewed flights. So this 4th of September is when they're doing their crew certification for that rocket. So that will be when they have a Soyuz spacecraft on top of that one. But all goes well, which I fully expect it to, then from that point onwards, all missions will be conducted with the Soyuz 2. All crewed missions from the Russians. Right. India. They're doing a docking experiment in space. From their PSLV, they're sending up 2 SpaceX modules. they're going to dock them together in space. So a very important skill to have. You want to be a space agency. That leads you on to being able to build bigger vehicles for larger missions and like space stations. Before the Americans went to the moon, they'd done a lot of this with the Geminis and the Mercury missions. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. Because when they sent their Apollo one up there, they had to separate the crew module from the service module and flip it round to get back up to the moon. To get back up to the moon, to get to the moon. Obviously, skills like that are massively important if you want to be building a space station as well. You have to be able to rendezvous two objects in orbit without doing any damage. So the Indians are learning that skill. So go India, well done. So on the 15th of October, we're going to see the CHEOPS satellite being built. That's the ESA's satellite for studying exoplanets. Should be pretty good. Got a lot of good data for that. On to fourth quarter of 2019, we've got some Chinese missions going up here. They're doing it, sending up a gravitational wave detector, sending up 3 of them, the Tai Quins. They're up to low Earth orbit. That should be good. You'll be able to correlate a lot of that data with the gravitational wave detectors we've got down here. ESA Vega C rocket, that's its first flight. It's doing some gravitational research. And Ukraine is sending up its first rocket, the Zenital 3LS, and that's going from the Odyssey, which, if you remember, was the European Space Agency's sea launcher, which they decided they didn't need and sold it off. It was bought by a private Russian company who's now using it to launch the Ukrainian rockets. So that's the second sea launch of the year, because we don't see a lot of them. Right, now Electron is sending up a satellite, a CubeSat for Swarm Technologies. Now, you remember Swarm Technologies? They were the one that got in trouble by telling the Indian Space Agency, ISRO, that they had a license for their satellites, and they didn't. So now they do have a license, so they're going up on the Electron rocket towards the end of 2019. Suborbitals, and we've got some interesting suborbital flights this year. So we've got a good one from SpaceX. It should be in March. They're doing a in-flight abort test with their Crew Dragon. Now, I've heard that they plan to just blow the whole thing up with it on top of it. But we've done it Max Q, so it may or may not survive anyway. But that's one to watch, definitely. I hope that's televised. Should be able to watch that. See some other in-flight abort testing with the Orion capsule from NASA. In April, we're going to see the New Shepard going up with the Crew capsule on board. And of course, Spain's first rocket flight. This brings us up to the end of the preview of the 2019 spaceflight agenda. I know which missions I'm looking forward to the most. There's a lot going on this year, and we have some really good stuff to look forward to. So, what kind of stuff are you guys looking forward to? Hopefully we'll be able to get out some more videos. This is my first video, so don't be too critical, but feedback is welcome, definitely. Right. Happy space fans. See you next time.